Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joel True and Love, here bringing you AEW All Out Pay Per View date review for 2020. I saw the review last night, along with the buy-in. Hope you're all being safe on this Labor Day weekend. Like and subscribe if you're new. Click on the bell for notifications. With that being said, with the review for the pay-per-view, there were some good spots and there were some bad spots. I mean, there was a few matches that could have been left on off the show. There was some scary spots, some botches, some head scratching decisions first that were made. What I'll say is yes, it wasn't as good as Revolution. I think we can all agree. Back in February, Double or Nothing, I would say was solid. Probably was a little better than what, or was better than this was to an extent. But there were some good moments and there were some bad moments. I'll go over that all in the review. So, again, thank you for joining me. And let's get into the review, shall we? So, starting off with the buy-in, it was Joey Janela versus Serpentico. Now, I mean, people know how I feel about Joey Janela, how he's fallen so mightily. Credit he wasn't a main eventer. He was more like a mid-card level guy, but still, last year he has fallen, I would say, mightily. Serpentico, for those who have watched AEW Dark, have seen that he has been paired up with Luther on a few tag team matches. Have done well for themselves. But in this match, it was short. Janela, basically all offense from the bell. He didn't even make an entrance. Really. He hit a elbow drop. Of course, he won with his patented diving elbow drop from the top rope. He has a good elbow drop, I will say that. For the win, Joey Janela, and then he said he was going to be or something involved with the Casino Battle Royale or later. So there was that. And then the second match of the buy-in, Private Party. They face Dark Horse 3 and 4, aka John Silver's and Alex Reynolds, who had a good showing. They are talented in the Dark Order. They certainly know how to amp it up for a match. But Private Party, they won. Gin Juice, they won. So that was the buy-in. And then we get into the main show. So the show started off. This is one of the matches that could have been left off the show was Britt Baker versus Big Swole Tooth and Nail. So Big Swole, she arrived and it looked like a limo with a referee to Britt Baker's dentist shop. And so she arrived at the front desk. Reba was checking her in, and she beat up Reba for a bit, and then she was looking for Britt Baker, and then she was blindsided by Britt Baker holding what looked like a frame, and they fought on. They fought to the outside with Reba and bought, and apparently Britt Baker's golf cart was around the outside. They fought around that area. At the end, Britt Baker was pinned by Big Swole in her dentist chair when she was giving her that laughing gas. So, I mean, look, I get they're trying to push Big Swole and Britt Baker. I mean, I'm sort of fond of both, but this match didn't really help any of them. I would much rather prefer a standard wrestling match between the two, but this was not really all that good. So next was the match that should have opened the show. The Young Bucks at first Jurassic Express. This was a pretty fun match. Jurassic Express are getting better and better, although it seems like they have been on the ice. They have improved. So was a tail whip by Jurassic Express for 2 count. Luchasaurus hit a outside moonsault from the ring apron onto the Young Bucks to the outside. Nick, he hit an assisted senton atomico onto Jungle Boy, who was propped up by Matt on the second rope for a 2 count. Then a brutal super kick by Matt, catching Jungle Boy in midair. Was a super kick party by the Young Bucks, and then they hit the BT trigger on Jungle Boy for the win. I mean, solid match, solid tag team match. Can't really say much. The Young Bucks have become more serious as the lingering effects of FTR, Hangman, and Omega have flowed over the Young Bucks, and we're gearing towards, obviously, that Young Bucks and FTR match in the future. So, right outcome and good showing by Jurassic Express. Next, the match I was most intrigued for All Out, the 21-man Casino Battle Royale. why was I most interested in this match was because it would probably tell the ending and the winner of the main event, which sadly kind of I was right. So the first 5 came out, the first suit. Um, it was Trent, Christopher Daniels, Jake Hager, Blade, and Phoenix. There's a lot going on, so I'll just mostly do the eliminations. Then it was Kaz, Will Hobbs, Chuck Taylor, Santana, Billy came out, and then Pentagon. And then, so Brian Cage also came out with Ricky Starks. And then more guys came out, Eddie Kingston, Butcher. Brian Cage, he eliminated Billy, threw him over the top rope. Phoenix was eliminated by Darby Allin. Chuck Taylor, he was eliminated by the Pack. I didn't really see who exactly eliminated, but there was like a crowd of competitors in the ring. Sean Spears, he came out, but he immediately went to the commentary booth to just wait and evaluate the match, pick his spots. So Jake Hager was eliminated by Sun Kiss. I don't get it. Then Sun Kiss was eliminated by Brian Cage. Santana was eliminated by Trent. Or it looked like Santana was looking to follow up and attack while Trent was on the ring apron, but he pulled down the top rope and Santana went over the top rope. Then Lance Archer eventually came in. Trent was eliminated by Lance Archer. And then Ortiz, he was on the ring apron. He was eliminated by Lance Archer. Matt Sydal, he was the wild card, number 21. He came out and was one of the scary spots I talked about at the beginning of the episode. He came out and, of course, his Senator Moon, I'm guessing, was a shooting star attempt. He slipped on the top rope and was a nasty landing. Now, initially, some people probably thought it was funny, and it was odd to see at first, but you hope he's okay. Luckily, he finished the match. He actually got far in the match. But Kazarian, he went after Butcher. Kazarian eliminated Pentagon when he was looking for a springboard into the ring. But then Kazarian was eliminated by Darby Allin. Then Darby Allin eliminated Ricky Starks. Brian Cage, after he was eliminated, Ricky Starks pulled Darby Allin from underneath the ring, and then threw him into the ring post, and then Brian Cage, he set up a body bag with thumbtacks in it. Then when Darby Allin was back in the ring, he put Darby in this body bag with tacks in it and threw him over the top rope and eliminated Darby Allin. So then Matt Sydal, he eliminated Sean Spears, and then Archer, one of the cooler spots of the match, he eliminated Will Hobbs and Brian Cage were both on the ring apron, and then fighting it out, and then Archer with a missile dropkick eliminated both Will Hobbs and Brian Cage at the same time. So that was out of nowhere spot. The Butcher, he was eliminated by Matt Sydal. So then we get down to the final three. Matt Sydal, Eddie Kingston, and Lance Archer, who, to my knowledge, 1, 2, 3. You know, 1, 2, 3 eliminations so far. Or actually 4. I forgot about Ortiz. But yeah. 4 eliminations so far. So then Sydal was hit with a blackout by Archer. Then Archer tried to chokeslam him outside of the ring, but Sydal landed on his feet on the ring apron. Eddie Kingston was also on the ring apron. He ran and shoved down Matt Sydal, eliminating him. And then it was strange. Apparently, Eddie Kingston he found out that he was afraid of serpents, but no men. So Jake the Snake Roberts with his bag, I'm not sure if a snake was in it or not, but he was trying to toy with Eddie Kingston, try to well it in his face. And then Butcher and the Blade, who Kingston befriended weeks ago, tried to come back and try to save Eddie Kingston from being eliminated. Kingston was Kingston was on the top rope, and then Archer, he chokeslammed Kingston from the top rope onto Butcher and the Blade, and Lance Archer wins the Battle Royal, the Casino Battle Royal, and will get a AEW World Title shot in the future. Now, I talked about it the other day. I said, and I also have a feeling that Archer, if he wins, then it probably does not bode well for MJF, also considering the ending of Dynamite on Wednesday. Otherwise, I think it'd be Darby Allin would have won the Battle Royal. But Right outcome, Archer win. Archer won. Um, he has been directionless as of late, but his record, I believe it's now 14-1. So, or 15-1. Either way, good. Excuse me, for Archer. Next up, we had Matt Hardy for Sammy Guevara. This was the other scary spot that I think took out for the fans that were in attendance. That kind of took some of the life, I would say, out of the show. But so it was a broken rules match. Matt Hardy for Sammy Guevara. If Matt loses, he's done in AEW. So they started out in front of the Jags football stadium. Um, but so Matt Hardy was looking for Sammy Guevara, and then Matt Hardy turns around, and then Sammy Guevara is in a golf cart. Kind of interesting because 2 times in the past, we've seen Matt Hardy chase down Sammy Guevara with a golf cart. Uh, Paying homage to Double or Nothing, like I mentioned earlier. But I mean, so they start off in the back, in the concourse area. Uh, Sammy, he actually crashed the golf cart. Uh, so they're fighting out in the concourse. Then all of a sudden they wound up on the scissor lift. And this is when the scary spot happened. So there was a table set up uh, at the near end of the scissor lift. So Sammy Guevara, he spears Matt Hardy off the scissor lift, and you can see Matt Hardy's head bounce off the concourse floor. And it looked scary for a second. Thank doctors official came in. Aubrey Edwards, who's the referee, she put up the X symbol. They were trying to make sure Mallory's okay. They originally, or they were about to say Sammy Guevara was the winner, but Matt continues the match. And you see Matt Hardy and Sammy fighting in the sands area of the arena. And then Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara, I assume this was on the fly because of the incident. But all of a sudden, Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara, they start fighting on this structure. One of those polling structures, per se, that so they're fighting up the structure, and then this little structure table area, um, Matt knocks Sammy from the top of the structure into this table area. Sammy crashed through. Aubrey begins the 10 count, and Sammy doesn't get up. Can't continue. So Matt Hardy wins. Now, first of all, going back to that, first of all, the match started off the way it kind of should have. Uh, Obviously, Sammy trying to get his revenge after being run over twice with a golf cart driven by Matt Hardy. However, that spot with Matt's head bouncing off the floor. Now, he was sent to the hospital after as a precaution, uh, and apparently uh, Mallory's wife, Remy Sky, tweeted about it, voicing her displeasure about the match continuing. Uh, Look, first of all, I have to ask, why, if you're gonna do that spot, why only have one table? Um, I mean, if you're gonna do it, be more careful and have two tables set up instead of just one little table. Now, if it was a big table, it makes sense, but it was one small table. And plus, the other thing, the sizzle lift, you could tell, was kind of too close to the table, which, what happened? I mean, Obviously, it was made up on the fly in the finish because Matt Hardy, thankfully, he seemed okay. Um, but it's just, and Matt wins the match. Obviously, it wasn't planned for Sammy to lose the match, or to win the match, excuse me. But it is what it is. Personally, what I would have done, like I said, I would put two tables there if you're gonna have that spot. Otherwise, if you wanted Matt to win, you could just uh, have the match end, but it was just a sticky situation. Um, and you're just hoping Matt's okay, and hopefully this will. Um, but it is what it is, I guess. Going from that match, we had Thunder Rosa versus Hikaru Shida. This was a pretty good women's match. I kind of didn't want to take notes. I just wanted to see how this match would have functioned. But because Thunder Rosa is good, she has really good offense. She took the fight to Shida. Uh, there was one spot also she had a Death Valley driver on the ring apron uh, to Shida for a 2 count. Uh, Shida, or excuse me, Rosa, she actually countered also a Falcon Arrow for a 2 count. There were moments where Rosa almost had it. But she actually had a Shining Wizard on Thunder Rosa for the win. Obviously, you kind of knew Shida was going to win. Thunder Rosa, I mean, she has helped uh, Sheeta and the women's division a bunch, and it sorely has been lacking ever since AEW has started, especially now with the injuries and the restrictions. Um, well, Britt Baker's back, but still, they need many. They need some new names in that division. But nonetheless, this was a very good match, very good women's match. Um, can't say enough about it. Now, people all kind of knew that Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford uh, were engaged. Now, apparently, they announced that their wedding will be on AEW Dynamite. Uh, so, happy for them. Will it be this Wednesday? I'm not sure, but they say it will be on Dynamite. So, oh well. So, this was the other match that honestly could not or shouldn't have been on the card. Dark Order, Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, Colt Cabana, and Brody Lee. They face off against Natural Nightmare, Scorpio Sky, and Matt Cardona. Now, going into this match, I was curious about a couple things. First of all, the interactions between Colt Cabana and Brody Lee. The dissension, will it be there? Also, how would Matt Cardona fare? Because this is only his second match on AEW. This was fine. It had some spots. Uh, was a TKO by Scorpio Sky for a 2 count. Dustin, he actually rolled up Colt Cabana for the win. Uh, and after the match, there was dissension between uh, Brody Lee and Colt Cabana, blaming Colt for the loss. Uh, I can see a match brewing between these two eventually happening, and they can build that up for the TNT Championship, perhaps. Uh, but this match, there should be a throwaway match on a pay per view, and that was kind of what this match was. It could have been saved for Dynamite. And apparently, Alex Marvez announced afterwards, uh, after talking to Dustin, that he will face Brody Lee for the TNT Championship. Um, should be interesting. This was probably the match of the night. FTR versus Hangman Page and Kenny Omega for the Tag Team Championship. This was interesting because you knew, okay, how are the interactions between Hangman and Kenny Omega going to be? Are they on the same page? This was a very good match. So FTR, they hit a powerbomb German suplex combo on Omega for a 2 count. Then they hit their classic superplex, top rope splash, or frog splash combo for a 2 count. Tiger Driver 98 4-2 by Kenny. Almost Dudleyville device kind of top bulldog or electric chair bulldog. There you go. By FTR for 2 count. Paige, he had a lot of good offense toward the end. He had a senton off the top rope onto FTR. He had a top rope fallaway slam, I believe, on Cash Wheeler for 2 count. Nice swat. Omega, Hangman, he was holding one of the members of FTR for Omega. He was going for the V trigger. And Omega, he accidentally hit Paige with the V trigger. And Omega, because FTR was focusing on their Kenny Omega's knee for most of the match, he was hit with chop block, and then FTR hit not one but 2 spike pile drivers on Heyman for the win. And FTR are the new tag team champions. After the match, it looked like Kenny Omega, he had a chair in his hand. He thought maybe he could wipe out Hangman with it, but he threw it away. Hangman, he tried to console, and Kenny Omega tried to tell him he's sorry, but going for a hug, but Omega brushed him aside, and Hangman fell to the mat. You could see the intensity and the anger coming out of Kenny Omega. And Kenny just left, and he told the Bucks he was done and he was going to leave. Then he said he needs a clean break, aka the cleaner coming, perhaps sooner rather than later. So then Kenny Omega got into the van and left the arena. It's coming sooner rather than later, the heel turn of Kenny Omega. So we go from that to the Mimosa Mayhem match between Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega. Or, excuse me. So focused on what just happened last match, but Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy. This match, of course, you were curious how it was going to unfold. So the rules for the match were the only way to win were pinfall, submission, or throw your opponent into a pool of mimosa on the outside. And there were 2 pools set up on the outside of mimosa, along with tables of, I assume, a little bit of the bubbly on the outside. So it started off hot. Chris Jericho hit code breaker right off the bat when Orange Cassidy was running to Jericho for a 2 count. They fought on the outside, as you expect, a bunch Jericho, he hit him with a bag of something. I'm not sure what it was. He powerbombed Orange Cassidy through one of the tables at the outside near the pools of Mimosa. Orange Cassidy came back. They were fighting on the outside. Then he got back into the ring. Uh, Jericho, he had the walls Jericho applied, but Cassidy got out. Cassidy hit a Michinoku driver for 2. Jericho hit he caught Orange Cassidy in midair with a code breaker for a 2 count. Then Orange Cassidy they both almost landed in the pools of Mimosa a few times. But Jericho, he almost landed into the pool. He was on the top or the second rope on the outside. Orange Cassidy had not one but 2 Superman punches, which, Tony Schiavone called the Orange Punch. Knocked Jericho into the pool of Mimosa, and Orange Cassidy wins the Mimosa Mayhem match. Now, give or take this match, it was alright for what it was. But it felt underwhelming after the hype that was brought around this match for the last few weeks. It was still fine, still decent, but for the second to last match of the pay-per-view, it's so-and-so. I mean, but Orange Cassidy has 2 victories now over Chris Jericho. So, I guess good for Orange Cassidy. See where they both go from here. Next, we got to the main event. I was still curious, even though Lance Archer won the Battle Royal, how this was going to go. Moxley vs MJF. This was as a basic old school type of wrestling match could go. MJF, he was targeting Moxley's arm because of salty earth. MJF, he was actually busted wide open after being thrown into the ring post on the outside. Jon Moxley hit a gotch pile driver for a 2 count. Heat Seeker by MJF for 2 near fall. Moxley, he had a sleeper hold applied to MJF, but the referee was in front of MJF. MJF hit a low blow, rolled up Moxley for near fall, then hit a crossroads on Moxley for 2. Then Wardlow, he distracted the referee. He threw the dynamite diamond ring into ring. MJF, he was looking around for it. And when he finally found it, Jon Moxley, he was looking at MJF, and he noticed the referee's back was turned. Hit the paradigm shift behind the referee's back. 1, 2, 3. Jon Moxley retains MJF's undefeated streak is over. I mean, look, I mean, there's a few ways you can go about this. I mean, MJF is great. He's only 24. Plus, there is a very limited capacity of fans there. So, plus Archer is in his 40s. So, you wonder how many years Archer has is going to be left in AEW. But see, it kind of makes sense, but it kind of doesn't. Excuse me, if you're going about what you were thinking. Because obviously they've been high on MJF. MJF has been basically the best heel in the company uh, since, well, since Full Gear. He has been the best heel in the company. And now, I just have a mixed bag of feelings because I want to see Archer versus Moxley. As you can tell by the thumbnail, Moxley versus Archer, if you hadn't known, um, last fought in New Japan. So, and Archer lost the IWGP US title to Moxley in a Texas death match. Now, Archer will be looking for his revenge to win the AEW World title from Moxley. I'm still curious, like, where does MJF go from here? He had his first loss. I mean, I kind of pitch also that MJF wins the title, and then you have Lance Archer face Moxley. Archer beats Moxley because they don't really need the title. Archer could beat Moxley, and then whichever babyface defeated MJF could have him face Lance Archer. But AEW made the decision. I just hope they clarify uh, their reasonings, and hopefully we get good build. I'm not sure because Full Gear is in 2 months, so I'm curious if they're gonna save Archer versus Jon Moxley for then, or what's gonna happen. And also, where does MJF go from here? I don't know. But like I said, there were some good spots and there were some bad spots. Good decisions, bad decisions when it comes to all out. Um, was a decent pay per view to say the least, but wasn't as good as a Revolution and Double or Nothing have been. That you can kind of agree upon. But nonetheless, that was the review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. The AEW review was fun, all out. I'll be back. I'll be posting a episode of sports overview topics as well. Uh, but I'll be back on Thursday covering AEW Dynamite, and then of course on Friday for NXT. But hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Like and subscribe if you're new. Click on that bell for notifications so it'll help out the video. I'm Age of True and Love, and I'll see you guys all on Thursday.